$9 trillion a month in tokenized assets on a blockchain most of you have probably never heard of. It's not Ethereum. It's not Solana. It's not XRP Ledger. It's called Canton Network, and it was built specifically because Wall Street cannot use public blockchains. The reason? Privacy. When JPMorgan settles a trade, they don't want Goldman Sachs watching. Today we're breaking down everything: how Canton works, who built it, and why the biggest names in finance chose it. Let's get into it. So what is Canton Network? In one sentence, it's a privacy-first Layer 1 blockchain built from the ground up for regulated financial institutions. Not adapted, not retrofitted, purpose-built. The company behind it is Digital Asset, founded by Blythe Masters. If that name sounds familiar, she was the JPMorgan executive who helped create the credit default swap market. Yeah, the person who helped build modern Wall Street derivatives infrastructure said, "We need a better ledger," and started building one. Digital Asset raised $135 million in June 2025 from DRW Venture Capital, TradeWeb, BNP Paribas, Citadel Securities, DTCC, Goldman Sachs, and Polychain Capital. But the governance is what matters most. Canton is governed by the Canton Foundation, co-chaired by Euroclear and DTCC. 43 super validators run the infrastructure, not anonymous node operators. We're talking DTCC, NASDAQ, Goldman Sachs, SBI Holdings. When people say institutional adoption, this is what it actually looks like. Now, you came here to understand how this thing actually works. So let's walk through it. Canton does not use proof of work, does not use proof of stake. It uses a two-phase commit protocol, similar to how distributed databases guarantee atomic transactions. When a transaction commits on Canton, it's done. Instant finality. No waiting for block confirmations. 3 types of nodes make this work. First, participant nodes. These host the actual parties, your banks, your asset managers. They maintain the active contract set and expose the ledger API. Second, sequencer nodes. These provide the ordering layer, assign timestamps, and deliver messages in order. But the sequencer only forwards encrypted messages. It never sees the payload, doesn't even know who sent the message. Total sender anonymity. Third, mediator nodes. These coordinate the two-phase commit, aggregate confirmation responses into a single verdict, commit or rollback. And just like the sequencer, the mediator never learns the transaction contents. Let me walk you through an actual transaction. Company A settles a Treasury repo with Company B. The submitter sends a confirmation request through the sequencer. Only the relevant parts go to each party. This is sub-transaction privacy. Company C on the network sees nothing. Participants verify their view, lock consumed contracts, send responses to the mediator. The mediator issues a single verdict. Commit goes out. Every relevant node atomically commits. If any stakeholder rejects, full rollback everywhere. All of this happens within a synchronizer, the sequencer plus mediator plus a topology manager for identity. The main one is the Global Synchronizer, open source, governed by the Canton Foundation. And Canton supports multiple synchronizers at the same time. Private subnets alongside the public Global Synchronizer, with atomic transactions across them. Network of networks. So Canton has this unique protocol architecture, but the smart contract layer is just as different. It's called Daml, Digital Asset Modeling Language. And before you ask, yes, they built an entirely new programming language. But hear me out on why. In Solidity, you write code that manipulates shared state on a public ledger. Everyone sees everything. Daml flips that. Contracts and parties are native language constructs. You don't just write logic. You encode rights and obligations between named parties. Party A has the right to transfer. Party B must approve. These aren't comments. they're enforced by the runtime. Privacy isn't bolted on after the fact. It's baked into how Daml fundamentally works. Each party only sees the contracts they're authorized to see. This connects directly back to the sub-transaction privacy we just covered in the protocol layer. And Daml isn't locked to Canton. It's platform flexible, deployable to Hyperledger Fabric, Amazon Aurora, VMware Concord. So if an institution already runs Fabric internally, their Daml contracts still work. No vendor lock-in. Now, you might be thinking, great, but Solidity has millions of developers. Daml has significantly fewer. And that's a fair point. Canton's native language is powerful but niche. Remember that tension, because it becomes really important in a few minutes when we talk about Zenith. Now this is where Canton separates from every other blockchain project. These are not pilot programs. This is live infrastructure moving real money. Broadridge runs its distributed ledger repo platform on Canton, $5.9 trillion monthly in tokenized U.S. Treasury repos. That alone accounts for most of Canton's $9 trillion monthly volume. DTCC partnered with Digital Asset in December 2025 to tokenize DTC-custodied U.S. Treasury securities on Canton. SEC no action letter in hand. The regulator greenlit it. This is the first time DTC-custodied securities will be minted on-chain, ever. JPMorgan's Connexus unit is bringing JPM Coin natively to Canton. Goldman Sachs and BNY Mellon launched the first U.S. tokenized money market fund. Over 500 atomic transactions with tokenized treasuries as real-time collateral. And the CC token, Canton's native token, trades around 15 cents with a market cap near 5.5 billion. The Cantonomics model directs 62% of rewards to applications driving real usage, not just staking. Remember that tension I mentioned? Daml is powerful but niche. Zenith just solved it. Launched March 9th, 2026, after 3 years in stealth. Zenith is the EVM execution layer for Canton. Any Solidity smart contract, unmodified, can now deploy on Canton and atomically interact with the network. Hard hat, MetaMask, familiar Ethereum tooling, works out of the box. No learning Daml required. And this is not a bridge, not a roll-up. EVM transactions settle atomically to Canton. No bridging risk. Zenith is a Tier 1 super validator with consensus weight equal to DTCC and NASDAQ. Chainlink and Layer 0 integrations coming for Ethereum interoperability. Mainnet Q2 2026. And Solana virtual machine support is planned next. Canton is becoming a multi-VM settlement layer. Think about what this means. Millions of Ethereum developers can now build on the same rails that DTCC and JPMorgan use. DeFi meets TradFi. McKinsey projects 2 to 4 trillion in tokenized assets by 2030. Canton is positioning to be the settlement layer underneath all of it. So let's bring it together. Canton Network, privacy first, two-phase commit protocol, where no single node sees everything. Daml smart contracts encoding rights and obligations. And now, Zenith bridging Ethereum's developer ecosystem into institutional rails. $9 trillion monthly, 700,000 daily transactions. Not a white paper promise. Production infrastructure moving real money. Canton isn't trying to replace Ethereum or Solana. It's building the layer underneath the institutions that move the real money. If this helped you understand Canton Network, drop a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments, did you know about Canton before this video? What surprised you most? I read every single comment. See you in the next one.